Hi, I'm Robbin Miller. I'm host of Miller Chat. Today's guest is Mike Kennedy from Center for Living and Working and Joe Bellil from Easter Seals. These two guys are no strangers to the show, considering when I've been on 23 years. You guys have been on every year.
23 years. Wow.
Yeah. Don't we feel old?
Mike does.
Yes. I get that a lot.
23 is a long time.
It's great.
I am going to make 25. I made a commitment. I don't know about it.
Yep.
So, what do you want to talk about today? What's the first topic today?
I don't know.
Housing?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do housing.
All right.
All right. Well, hey, I'll start off by saying I'm very glad that I have housing myself, and I'm not out there looking, whether it's for an apartment or for a single family home. It's the real estate market is absolutely insane, and I really feel for the for the renters who are being pushed out because their landlords are jacking up the rents because of the lack of availability of affordable housing, and I'm not even talking about accessible housing, which is another different animal.
Right. Now, again, I like what CLW is doing. They're doing a big push on the advocacy front concerning housing. One is that they're trying to work with other groups to promote, like you said, about affordable housing and things like that, and also with the Worcester Housing Authority on more subsidized housing that's accessible. And so I think that's good. I think you have to work as a team, just like we did with transportation. You got to work with with the other entities. They're doing that. What do they call the non-discrimination or non-something zone?
Oh, the inclusionary zone.
Inclusionary zone.
What they're trying to do is make an agreement with the developers to or the to be building managers to have some housing available for I believe like 6% of the area median income, which is still a fairly substantial salary.
Yeah.
But that they're hitting a lot of roadblocks because this is somewhat opinionated. They're looking for money profits.
Oh, well, of course, that hasn't changed in the 21st century. I
Yep.
just feel bad now that more people with physical disabilities or other disabilities are out in the community more, right? I see them at the colleges, I see them outside. And then, the point is, where can they move to? Like, say they're in rehab. Or say somebody gets into a car accident, anybody, elderly person. Well, where am I going to live?
No, that's a great point. As you talk about that, I think about what happened with COVID. Look what happened to the institutions, nursing facilities, where people were right beside each other. I mean, I'm involved in another coalition that's advocating to promote more opportunities to live in different places, not in all in bunched up. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I mean, if you want to live in a nursing facility, then that's something that you should have the choice to. But at the same time, if you want to live in the community, you should be able to find some place. Again, a lot of the folks are covered with Mass Health, I think. So you should be able to find some sort of housing for that's accessible and things. So I think it's important that, and it's growing population too, right? Growing elder population with mobility impairments and things like that. It's just going to be important that we have more of that out there. So, So I think COVID taught us a lesson, and I think we should just keep on, making more accessible units out there, both affordable, subsidized, and
And another piece we've been working on for, oh my God, 20 years or so is ensuring that certain gut rehabs of, say, factory buildings, school buildings, that, the 5% that is supposed to be full-blown accessible, the other 95% be what's called adaptable.
Yeah.
The simple definition is, where an apartment could be made more accessible without any structural changes. That your basic
good idea.
handyman can take care of. So, for instance, sink vanities, the ability to remove the sink vanity, so someone who ends up in a wheelchair can roll under the sink to do their wash, brush their teeth, shave, all that fun stuff. The ability to remove the cabinets under the kitchen sink, so one can roll under and do the dishes.
That seems reasonable.
And like I say, with brand new buildings, including a lot of the ones in Worcester that are being built like stick built from the ground up, they are supposed to have the other 95% be adaptable. And it's really simple stuff. I mean, it's, typically all the doorways will be 36 inches wide. Even, the newer houses today, the McMansions, even though they're not necessarily accessible to get in, once you are in, even the half baths are, will have 36-inch doorways, and at least wheelchair users like myself or Joe can, at least if they're able to get carried into the house, they can at least use the bathroom on that main floor.
Of course. But I think, but I want to ask you about the homeless. You know how they're building this building for them?
Oh, the small housing units.
Is that part of ADA? Will a certain percent have to be accessible in that building? You know about the building they're building somewhere downtown, about 20 apartments?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Might have-
It's like 20-something apartment. They're taking this big
Yeah.
building. Some of it will need to be accessible.
They're
Federal funds,
supposed to be, and they do exist. I don't know if I saw it at an Abilities Expo or maybe on Abilities Expo website. For those who don't know the Abilities Expo, it's everything and anything that has adaptions and equipment that enable people with disabilities to be independent.
Oh, cool.
And it could be the physical stuff like us, me and Joe, people with cognitive disabilities. It could be signage or cues that are easy to understand, no matter what your intelligence level or your ability to understand things.
Oh,
Not sure what the actual term is, but yeah, they did like an accessible tiny house. It basically has just like the clear floor space necessary to turn around and go to different parts of your little house and making the best use out of small space.
that sounds like a plan. Well, people have to be aware of that. I mean, the Gen Zs and those younger millennials, they're more active, they're more vocal.
Yeah.
Good to have options.
They will make it happen. Some of them will make it happen because they're loud. They will go on social media and do their thing, right? Make noise. So what else do we have to talk about?
You want to talk about the move?
Sure. Oh, that's right.
So East Seals moved to 18 Chestnut Street, which used to be the Unum building, and way back it was Paul Revere and things like that. And Center for Living Working is going to be going there. Other nonprofits from Den Homes are moving there because there's been a number of building issues in Den Homes, an old building and things like that. And the city or the WRA just purchased it. So.
Oh.
Yeah, and so they're looking right now for, I don't know, a developer or somebody to purchase that from them. think they're hoping to make some tax revenue from it.
Of course.
We're talking about $500 to $1 million, potential tax revenue, which is good. And we're in a better building that has multiple elevators and ways to get out. So, and some parking. So we're happy about that.
Yeah. Infrastructure too, because
Yep.
it was getting harder and harder to, be able to have, all the electronics that you need nowadays,
Yeah.
whether it's
that's
for
true.
Wi-Fi or being able to conduct meetings, hybrid meetings, especially, which is a big rage right now. And I think I know Joe and I have talked about it many times. I think it's going to be here to stay.
Absolutely. That's my other category I wanted
Yeah,
to talk about too.
yeah,
Is about
yeah.
it's so the importance of that, and then even the governor has extended the open meeting law where you don't have to have a quorum present. You can have them
Yes,
on
yes.
virtual, which is important, and we've been supporting that as well as ways to testify. And it is I think it's really empowered folks and given the opportunity for especially I would say people with disabilities who have difficulty in transportation.
Yep.
The cost for like going from here to Boston, never mind the hassle, driving there, parking, the cost of parking, if
50
you can
bucks.
find a parking spot. It's so much easier. I mean, I've testified many times on different legislation that was out there, and it's easy and you can do it. But not every place has done a great job on the whole hybrid meeting piece. And so sometimes it's difficult to be able to express things, certain, things. So I think people are learning about it, but really encouraging. I mean, I've testified at the city of Worcester before on different items and things like that. So, yeah. So I think that's something in the future where we're definitely, encouraging legislators to support that and the governor, and hopefully that will be, a standard.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree because I've gone to the State House many a times, and I was fortunate. But I'm fortunate to have a great senator whose office I can call and arrange to have a parking space, and that really makes all the difference in the world. Because the State House being on top of Beacon Hill, really limits manual wheelchair users like me and Joe. I mean, if we can't park in the few spaces that are at the top of that plateau, we're toast.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to kill our arms going up. How steep the slope
Yeah.
is there. So it's.
Well, I think it's interesting how COVID changed a lot of things that people with disabilities have been fighting for years. Right? Who knew that COVID would come and people being all of a sudden what people with disabilities have been fighting for? Hybrid meetings or Zoom meetings, right?
Working
Yep.
from home,
Right.
working with, not having to travel with, barriers out there.
It's working
Access.
because it affected people who didn't think it affected them in the past. And when they couldn't function, they had all anxiety attacks and said, okay, we need to do something.
Yeah.
People have to learn the hard way.
Yeah. And again, I'm all for it.
Right,
I
of
love
course.
the being able to do hybrid and everything else. There's still a part of me that worries a little bit that we're losing the face-to-face
Yes,
contact.
of
And we
course.
need to make sure that we make sure that's available. And so that's why I think the importance of the hybrid meetings and also encouraging people to get together socially, because that's the other thing too. I just don't want to see folks with disabilities isolated because you don't need to worry about the accessibility of this place. You can just go on virtual, for that, and then that gets a little tricky. So you need to have contact. You should have that ability, and we shouldn't forget that, But otherwise, I think it does open new doors. Employment, especially, being able to advocate, get more involved in your community. Volunteer. We've had volunteers through that. So yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's worked. I mean, I went to they're doing a strategic plan and they had it on Zoom, so I participated.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I know at first I struggled mightily trying to work from home because I'm not tech savvy. But what happened was with ARPA funds, all staff were given brand new Dell laptops, and and it had everything set up. So as soon as you logged in, there's your desktop. Same desktop that was available at work, and we have great tech support. And now I love it. I actually really love working from home. I honestly believe it's going to extend my my work career another year or two, and especially because I know what I've been focusing most on. We've been signed up for another 3 years, so and most of that will be from home, except when I actually go out and do accessibility site visits. But to speak to your isolation stuff, I know what me and some of my coworkers did. The ones, you know, I think everybody, wherever they work, they have, they know everybody, but they have a certain group of people that they really know and really love to hang out with.
Yep.
So we have actually made plans, and we have actually met at a place in the Worcester area. Because that's where our work's located. So we've done that. So at least we get the face-to-face contact, the stuff that you really enjoy.
Yeah, the weather's a little hot, but there's more outside places, right? People
Yep.
are taking up that up until winter. So, do you put, I mean, they have what you call heated tents. Have you been in a heated tent?
Oh,
For dinner-
like for
like for
outdoor
restaurants?
dining?
Yeah, are
Oh,
they
like
safe?
igloos and stuff like that?
Igloos, and it's see, San Diego has chimeras because, they year out all year round, but they have little chimeras when it gets cooler. These Mexican terracotta things. They're
Yeah, I've
like-
been in a restaurant where they had heaters outside.
Yeah,
Tents.
they look kind of like lamps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, that. They're,
we've had
hydrogen
those,
vents,
yep.
Yeah. Do you think they're safe? I always get afraid that something's going to catch on fire, or you're near it too. I mean, somebody with who has diabetes, I wouldn't recommend they sit in front of it because of heat, right? If you have some issue with heat, if you have a disability or an impairment, sitting by those heaters, you just have to be mindful
Yeah,
because some people can have skin breakout.
yeah. I love heat. So you very rarely will you ever hear me say it's too hot. You'll hear me all the time whining about being too cold.
I tend to get hot though.
Oh yeah. I I don't know personally, but I do know. From being married 31 plus years. So yep.
Congratulations.
And you'll probably already know that too, Joe.
Being warm?
No. About Linda being warmer than she wants to be.
Yeah.
So we have less than 9 minutes left. So what else do we have on our plate?
Transportation.
Go ahead.
So, again, we've been meeting on Zoom and things like that, a group of nonprofits and people with disabilities and riders, basically supporting different transportation advocacies that are out there. One of the things that we've been focused on a little bit was on-demand, available, accessible, and affordable transportation. That's something that we're really, wanting to see more, especially in the Worcester area. I'm a little envious of like Shrewsbury and Westboro. There's a WRTA, what are they called? No, the VS shuttle, they call it.
Yes, I've
Yeah.
seen them.
So, I know, I've heard that they've done over like 500 rides, probably a lot more now. That was the last statistics I saw. People are very happy with it.
Yes, they are.
They only go in certain sections of Shrewsbury, but like the Whole Foods area, the White City,
Stop and
Town Hall, right? And then the Westboro covers a bunch of areas there and stuff like that. $2 a ride on demand, get there within like 20 minutes or less. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a wonderful service, and I think that's something I'd like to see in the Worcester area, and especially to be expanded out here. Right now, again, I understand this. The fixed bus routes are important for the majority of the people using that, but I think having layered on there an affordable, on-demand, available system that not only for people with disabilities but for anybody can be an asset. And then on top of that, you have the Uber, Lyft, type thing, and taxis.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you know what I thought was really cool, it was pointed out at a transportation advisory group meeting that VIA is being used a lot by, say, high school kids, doing extracurricular activities, whether they're playing sports or in the band, rather than having their parents pick them up.
In Shrewsbury?
Yeah, either Shrewsbury and or Westboro. I remember Connie mentioning that some of those high school students are going that route instead of having their parents come and having a lot of cars in the school parking lot.
Oh, I'm gonna like that as a parent. Save on gas.
Yeah,
Not worry about picking up your child and stuff.
And they don't want to be
Yeah.
with us anyway. They want to be with their friends.
Build up the independence. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Flexibility. Plus, when we don't want to drive anymore, we can always, pay $2 and go, have on-demand service.
yeah. I mean, how easy does it get, really, right?
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, see, COVID in a way, I mean, it did a lot of bad, too. In some ways, it did a lot of good.
Yeah,
And now the new disability is long COVID. We have no idea what long-term COVID is going to look like for a lot of people. I mean, I've had COVID and I'm okay. Don't know. We don't know. That's the scary part. We don't know.
We don't. And we don't know what's next.
We don't
And
know
we don't
what's
know the
next.
effects. And that's why the best insurance policy is to make things as accessible as possible.
Yes.
It's the smartest thing to do in the future. It just benefits people all around. That's through electronics and communications and transportation, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think we're in the right field and we're pushing the right things. But
yeah. And I'm also a big fan of the vaccines. I know booster number 3 is out there now,
yeah, I got
along with the flu shots.
Yeah.
So I'll be working on getting those. I mean, when I had my second booster, that was I think last November. I had a flu shot in one arm, a booster in the other, and off to Mohegan Sun I went that night, and it was great. No effects at all.
good.
So we have less than 4 minutes. Is there anything else coming up, like legislation, anything new that you think will be on the horizon? Is there more funding going to programs for people with disabilities?
Opera's been very good, and there's been a lot of monies out there that the state's been able to use, and increasing services, especially to provide, like for example, I've seen through ECCLs more assistive technology for
Oh, good.
people. So there's been more of that type of availability and resources put out there. I think the independent living centers have gotten more money as well. So that just to provide services. So that's great. We've got a new legislation period coming up, starting in January. New bills for another 2-year cycle deal.
Yep.
Some of the bills that we've really pushed this year didn't go through, and
You try
so
again?
we're going to be right. We'll be working together again, getting it.
Yep.
Several of them are accessibility related. So
Yep. And maybe even we might be able to get some stuff that really looked promising that died on the 11th hour of July 31st.
so close, but legislation's tough.
Yep.
Different.
But we have good legislators here, so
I
we
know
really
we do.
Yep.
appreciate what they do.
I'm glad that some playgrounds are finally becoming accessible. Dean Park, which was purposely built inaccessible in 2005 because of funding, finally, the town is paying. I heard Holden is building an accessible playground, too.
Really?
I heard that. Yes.
Heard that.
Yeah. Well, we can certainly help the town of Holden if we get their ADA plan. I don't know if you know. Are you aware that the town of Holden is looking for ADA plan consultants?
No.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, CMRPC and CLW are submitting a bill on, I mean, a price proposal on
Oh,
it.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep, but yeah.
Excellent.
You know, working on town's ADA plans, we do look at a lot of playgrounds, and we're still seeing wood chips.
Oh,
Or the alleged snake oil called engineered wood fibers.
oh,
Snake
those.
oil.
Oh, yeah.
No, really, put them side by side. You know, that and bark mulch. It's like, stop. Just stop the madness.
Well, we have less than a minute, so why don't you guys talk about how people can contact you, Joe?
You can contact me through Easter Seals. Usually my email is probably the best way. So it's
Okay.
JBELLIL at eastersealsma.org. If you Google it, you find Joe Bellil. You can probably get my contact info.
Okay, because you're the Vice President of Advocacy, right?
I'm Vice President of Public Affairs and Youth Services at Easter Seals.
Okay, Mike.
Mike Kennedy, direct line is 508-755-1401. My email is mkennedy@center, L as in living, W as in working.org. And Center for Living and Working's ADA accessibility and advocacy coordinator. All the stuff that begins with A. And happy to be at your service.
Yes,
Wow. Nice.
I'm getting busy.
Oh, oh yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Joe and Mike, for coming on my show. This has been another episode of Miller Chat. Good night.